truth leaves trails. Trails show patterns.
No comment, no comment.
This defiance is a danger to the Republic.
The Clinton Defiance, in theaters now.
Bill and Hillary Clinton were subpoenaed by Congress to testify about their Jeffrey Epstein connection. They postponed, they delayed. Now House Oversight Chairman James Comer is threatening them with prison and contempt charges. You see, flight logs prove that Bill was on the Lolita Express multiple times. Financial records show Epstein bankrolled Virgin Island officials, and the same Democrats demanding transparency are the ones with the deepest Epstein ties. The subpoena showdown just reached a breaking point, and the Clintons are running out of places to hide. You see, this is about whether the most powerful political family in modern history will finally be held accountable. The Clintons have avoided answering Epstein questions on the record for years. Now Congress has the power to compel testimony under oath, and Comer is making it clear: testify or face consequences. If the Clintons can ignore congressional subpoenas without penalty, the entire oversight system is meaningless. And Stephen A. Miller warned Democrats that when Trump releases the full Epstein files, Larry Summers is just the first shoe to drop. Representative Debbie Dingell brought Epstein survivors to the House gallery during transparency debates, but her own colleagues are dodging depositions. This is the ultimate test of whether justice applies equally or whether political royalty remains untouchable. And now we have this breaking news. The Trump administration just released a document that could reshape mining under Executive Order 14241. The Palmer Project in Alaska, it was named a key asset for America's mineral independence, and Vizsla Copper acquired that project. $3.5 billion in-ground value containing copper, zinc, and silver, vital for our military and energy grid. Led by the team that propelled Vizsla Silver to $1 billion valuation, they now have explicit government backing. When other Alaskan miners got this support, shares shot up over 200%. Now, Vizsla trades as VCUFF in the United States, and it's worth a look. And thank you to Vizsla Copper for sponsoring today's show. You can find out more by clicking the link in the description. Now, here's where it gets explosive. Representative Stacey Plaskett, we've been talking about her for days now, who represents the Virgin Islands territory that Epstein used as his sick playground, is now under fire for her own connections. Reports show that she texted Epstein during the 2019 Michael Cohen hearing. Epstein paid college tuition for the children of Virgin Islands First Lady Cecile de Jongh. Hakeem Jeffries, now dodging Comer's questions, took campaign cash from Epstein. Chairman Comer didn't hold back on the House floor, telling Jeffries to stop lying and own up to his campaign soliciting money from Epstein. The same people lecturing about accountability are the ones refusing to answer under oath. Bill and Hillary Clinton postponing their subpoena depositions before the House Oversight Committee that was scheduled for today.
Maxwell. I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times.
Hillary and Bill Clinton are postponing their depositions before the House Oversight Committee. They were subpoenaed to testify about their ties to Jeffrey Epstein and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Hillary's Thursday appearance and Bill's Tuesday slot got pushed back, but the subpoenas are still active. Congress is working with their lawyers to reschedule. Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's plane at least 4 times for foundation work. A 2002 photo shows him getting a massage from an Epstein accuser on one of those trips, though she said he was a perfect gentleman. Less is known about Hillary, but Epstein donated to the White House renovations in 1993, and Maxwell attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010. Maxwell told DOJ officials Bill was her friend, not Epstein's, and he never visited Epstein's island.
I never went to the island.
Did you hear that little side note there?
From an Epstein accuser on one of those trips, though she said he was a perfect gentleman. Less is known about Hillary, but Epstein donated to the White House renovations in 1993.
Epstein donated to White House renovations in 1993. And they're freaking out about Trump's ballroom. How crazy. Illinois Review posting this just 24 hours ago. Epstein files backfire. Epstein was asked to donate on behalf of J.B. Pritzker's campaign years after his 2008 conviction for crimes against a minor. Oh, yeah. It's not just Hakeem Jeffries, my friends. It is also J.B. Pritzker. And if we get the page to load, we'll bring up the article. But it's not cooperating, so we'll just keep going. Here we have this. Oh, it gets worse for J.B. Pritzker and his family. In the 20,000 pages of documents, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Thomas Pritzker connect by email at least 20 times. In one exchange, Epstein writes, Pritzker, nice to see you. Please come more often. No wonder JB is going nuts. Jeffrey Epstein documents show relationship with his cousin Tom Pritzker. The Clintons referred to the DOJ following refusal to respond to subpoenas. In this famous quote, if I'm indicted, I'll take half of D.C. with me, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Now, we can jump to the House floor where Comer is trashing Hakeem Jeffries, excuse me. But I want to get to this. We played this the other day, but this is where Comer made it absolutely clear.
Now, Mr. Chairman, there are two very important people that you subpoenaed early on, that you asked to voluntarily cooperate. They didn't schedule their interviews. Now there's a subpoena. But Bill and Hillary Clinton, if they continue to duck you, will you take them to court? Will you try to enforce a subpoena? Will you go the Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro route?
100%. We're going to go that route. We expect to hear from Bill and Hillary Clinton. Look, Donald Trump's answered questions for years about Jeffrey Epstein. Every day he gets asked questions about Epstein, and he answers them in front of the American people. We've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats. Two Republicans have come forward, Bill Barr and Alex Acosta. They did interviews and deposition, and those were tough, but they did them. They didn't back down. Other Democrats have sent letters that saying they knew nothing about Epstein, which would hold in court if something ever comes out that they did know something, then they've committed perjury there. But the Clintons have never responded. They're the one group in this investigation that's never had to answer questions in front of a credible reporter, and they've never certainly answered questions from attorneys or members of Congress. So we expect the Clintons to come in, or I expect the Clintons to be met with the same fate that Bannon and Navarro were met with when the Democrats were in control.
And we all recall what happened. Here's Stephen A. Smith warning Democrat Larry Summers is the first shoe to drop over the Epstein files.
Words that came to my mind was he did something that I didn't see coming. He said, to hell with it, open the files. I'll sign to open the files. No problem. And the first words that came to my mind was, uh-oh. Because Donald Trump is not going to do that if it's going to be something that significantly hurts Donald Trump. He's going to do it if, dare I say, he's got something on other people. Because that is who we know him to be, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. There's no way around this. And sure enough, one of the first names that came out was Larry Summers, who worked as the Treasury Secretary under the Clinton administration, who worked on economic policies for Barack Obama, who was religiously associated with the left, who was still teaching at Harvard, and then ultimately had to step back and step away from public settings and things of that nature, scale back his role within the last 24 hours because he was one of the names that appeared in the Epstein files. He was somebody that knew Epstein. He was somebody that kept in constant contact with Epstein. He was somebody that Epstein had influenced and coaxed Epstein into donating millions upon millions of dollars to Harvard University. I mean, in excess of $9 million. Okay? This is the kind of stuff that was happening. And you found yourself saying, oh, damn. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what you should be thinking. It should be, oh, damn. Because that's just the first shoe to drop. Why
That is just the first shoe to drop. Oh, the headlines: Hillary and Bill defy subpoena. Of course, these two lowlife scumbags defy subpoenas. Now, what is the corrupt, gutless Congress going to do? Near tip to every Marxist scumbag who stays silent about how the Clintons skipped their subpoena at congressional hearing to give testimony. Epstein will constantly calling Trump a pedo should go F themselves. Near tip writing that. President Trump, 23 hours ago on Truth Social. Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats, as a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures such as Bill Clinton, who traveled on his plane 26 times, Larry Summers, who just resigned from many boards, including Harvard, sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who asked Epstein to donate to his campaign after he was charged, and I'll include J.B. Pritzker here. The Post continues. Democratic Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett and more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Epstein will soon be revealed because I have signed the bill to release the Epstein files. As everyone knows, I asked Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass the bill in the House and Senate respectively. Because of this request, the votes were almost unanimous in favor of passage. In my direction, the Department of Justice has already turned over close to 50,000 pages of documents to Congress. Do not forget the Biden. What does that mean? Do not forget the Biden. Interesting. So President Trump has signed the order. The Salty Goat writes, who thinks today is a good day to arrest Bill and Hillary Clinton for refusing to comply with a lawful subpoena? Adam Schiff posting on X, prosecution of those who refuse to comply with the lawful subpoena is vital to ensuring congressional oversight has teeth. Otherwise, Congress cannot function as the founders intended. The balance of power becomes unbalanced, and a corrupt executive can't be held to account. Oh, so even Adam Schiff believes that people should be prosecuted if they defy congressional subpoena. It's vital to the oversight's health. So, Bill and Hillary then? Epstein paid college tuition for the kids of former First Lady Cecile de Jongh, the wife of the ex-governor John de Jongh. Then Representative Stacey Plaskett, who repped the territory Epstein used as his playground, texted him during the 2019 Cohen hearing.
To a shocking new report in the Jeffrey Epstein saga reveals the convicted sex offender paid the college tuition of the kids of the former Virgin Islands First Lady, Cecile de Jongh. This is according to court filings from J.P. Morgan. What's more, that same year, she consulted him on changes to a sex offender registration law.
This all comes as J.P. Morgan accused by the Virgin Islands of facilitating Epstein's alleged crimes. Additionally, there's some very interesting reporting. Stacey Plaskett, who's the delegate for the Virgin Islands to U.S. Congress, if her name is reminiscent to you, viewers who are hearing this, that's because she was the one who really grilled Schellenberger and Taibbi when so-called journalists.
Yeah.
Then she subsequently sent that letter when one of the acronyms had been flipped, and it didn't really fundamentally change anything about the Twitter files, but saying that, because you perjured yourself, that's a crime and you could face 5 years in jail, that kind of thing. Taking this really weird posturing on the information the Twitter files had uncovered. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not exactly a fan of what she was going for there, but she is the delegate for the Virgin Islands. This also comes from the J.P. Morgan filings that in 2018, she was doing a campaign fundraiser, and she asked for Jeffrey Epstein to get an invitation. If you'd like to share this invitation with Jeffrey, I'd be much appreciative. I would be grateful for his support and the support of those he may direct to assist me. This is in July of 2018. We just looked this up. He was arrested about a year after that, in July of 2019. He then died or something in prison shortly thereafter. So this is not, we have criticized Bill Gates type people for still being associates of Jeffrey Epstein like a full decade before that.
Right.
This is at the point where Jeffrey Epstein is I think, on his way to becoming a household name for sex crimes against underage people. and she is hitting him up for money. She is proactive. It's not even that he showed up and then offered her money. She proactively says, make sure he comes to my fundraiser. Yeah. At a time where not only should she have known, but like everyone knows. That's crazy.
I think it's not a good look. Now, she says that she subsequently donated those donations to various charities and didn't hold on to the money. I do think, to your point, the fact of her willingness not to just to take money from him, but also to solicit money from him many years, a decade after he was.
Okay. I mean, yeah, they're still soliciting even after they knew exactly who he was. Let's jump over to the House floor where Chairman Comer dropping a nuke earlier today on Brooklyn Barack, a.k.a. Hakeem Jeffries.
And I've taken to the floor today to respond to Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries calling me a, quote, stone-cold liar during a press conference defending the recent discovery of Democrats' communication with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And I bring with me something that he and many of his fellow Democrats like Jamie Raskin, Jasmine Crockett, and Stacey Plaskett, apparently detest. And that is a thing called evidence. Tuesday, I gave a speech on the House floor detailing my House Oversight Committee's good work to date on our Epstein investigation. After all, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrats in Congress, and your allies in the corporate media have been demanding a full release of the Epstein documents for months, including all the documents from the Epstein estate. So without hesitation, I subpoenaed all of the Jeffrey Epstein estate documents because I, as well as my Republican colleagues on the House Oversight Committee, we want to know what really happened. What went on? Who was involved in these unspeakable crimes? We want justice for the survivors. That's why we're doing this investigation. So House Oversight obtained over 30,000 pages of documents from the estate. Unlike the Democrats, who only released 10 of those over 30,000 pages of documents, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee released every single document on the website for the American people to see. Democrats and many in the media were anxiously clutching their pearls in anticipation of potential dirt on President Trump. In the end, after full transparency by the Republicans on the Oversight Committee, there was nothing new about the president's former relationship with Epstein, and certainly nothing scandalous. But we did find two sitting Democrat members of Congress had communication with Epstein. First, it's been highly reported and debated about Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett texting during an Oversight Committee hearing with Jeffrey Epstein while trying to conspire with him to hurt or embarrass Donald Trump. But according to Jamie Raskin, that was okay because Mr. Epstein was her constituent. Now, how embarrassing a rationale is that? But the second communication was this email right here, where Hakeem Jeffries' campaign reached out directly to Jeffrey Epstein, soliciting campaign dollars for the, quote, Brooklyn Barack. Now, whereas Jamie Raskin explained Plaskett's communication with Epstein as simply responding to a constituent, Hakeem Jeffries had a very different response when asked about it by the media. He denied its existence. Hakeem Jeffries said, Comer is a stone-cold liar, and then he reverted to calling me names for the second week in a row. So let's read it to make sure. To Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the real Jeffrey Epstein, not Jasmine Crockett's Jeffrey Epstein. This is the real Jeffrey Epstein. From Hakeem Jeffries' campaign. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars of the New York delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democrat majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in a DCCC fundraising dinner with President Obama and Hakeem Jeffries. It ends with a number for Jeffrey Epstein to call to go to the dinner and, quote, get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. Here's the evidence. The email speaks for itself. The only stone-cold liar in this debate is Hakeem Jeffries. So, Mr. Minority Leader, take a deep breath, chill out, stop lying, stop with the juvenile name-calling, and own up to the fact that your campaign solicited campaign cash from Jeffrey Epstein. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back. I've taken to the floor today to respond
Hard
to Minority
to
Leader
deny
Hakeem.
the truth there. Right there now, it's all on the record on the House floor. And it looks like we may finally see some justice. Epstein and the connections between Bill Clinton, the subpoenas they're dodging, but justice is coming. You see, the timeline is actually damning. October, subpoenas were issued. The Clintons postponed. November, public pressure mounts with warnings to testify or be arrested. Mid-November, Comer threatens prison and contempt charges. Late November, still no testimony, but the internet is on fire, demanding accountability. Even Newsweek is confirming that the threats from Comer are real. The Clintons have been backed into a corner, and for the first time in decades, the political shield around them is cracking. You see, Trump signed the bill to release the Epstein files, and that could really be the final blow. Now, for years, the Clintons skated on Epstein questions with vague denials and lawyer-crafted statements. Now they're under congressional subpoena. The evidence is piling up. Flight logs don't lie. Financial records don't lie. And the American people are done accepting excuses from the political elite. This is not about left or right. It's about whether we have one system of justice or two. If the Clintons can ignore subpoenas while ordinary Americans go to jail for contempt, the entire concept of equal justice collapses. Representative Comer is holding the line, but the question is whether Congress will follow through or whether this becomes another example of accountability theater. So the question for you is, do you think that Bill and Hillary Clinton should be held in contempt if they refuse to testify? Yes or no? Tell us in the comments. Check out the Next News merch shop in the description. If you got value from this segment, hit subscribe.